Hello and welcome to the Something Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Jared, and joining me tonight is Sean. How are you, Sean?
Good, yeah. Getting a double intro going there. Yeah, I'm just back in Australia, so feeling a bit jet lagged. Yeah, it was quite a trip. Quite a trip.
Bit of technical difficulties at the start here before we got into it, but yeah, off we go. So, yeah, welcome back down under, mate. How was your trip?
It was good. The weather was much the same as here. So WA winter is the same as a Scottish summer. And apart from the absolute stinking mess that was the bin strike, it was pretty good. Got to go to Tannadice. Got to see 35 minutes of the Derby game live before I had to go to the wedding ceremony. I think there was a few people looking at their phones during the ceremony.
Wouldn't surprise me, mate. Would not surprise me at all. You said to do the old messaging during the day, and I've realised, I'm like, oh, hang on. I've been that into the game on the weekend that I've kind of forgot to message Sean's score update. So sorry about that.
Oh, it's all right. I had a backup plan. I had my mate Cupcake messaging me the goals as well. He's sent me
Uh,
videos and everything.
Happy days. Shit, mate, I am, but you know, Cupcake for the win. Love it. Happy days. What a legend. What a name, Cupcake. Gotta love that. Brilliant. So, on today's podcast, we're just going to go through. We had 3 games since the last podcast. So, we got the game against Ross County, we got the game against Sevco, and we got Real Madrid, which we didn't even preview on last week's pod because this idiot here saw Wednesday and thought it was Wednesday night over there, not Wednesday morning our time. So, didn't preview it, but yeah, we'll discuss that anyway. And then we just go through the transfer window and then also talk about the upcoming game against Livingston on the weekend and answer any questions you guys send through in the comments. So, yeah, we'll crack on. So, do you really want to talk about Ross County, Sean? Or was that long ago? It feels like a long time ago.
It was. We could mention quickly that Alex Iacovitti is the only player in Scottish football who's scored a goal against us so far this year, and he's done it twice. Uh, Maybe something to take note of. We do seem to concede these kind of goals against Ross County specifically, and I'm not sure why. Since other teams have not figured it out, or Ross County have just got a better tactic at it.
Or that centre back just doesn't like running back down the field and likes to hang up the front thinking he's a centre forward, and that's why he scores.
Yeah, it kind of did make me debate, because Starfelt ducks out the high ball, and then Moritz Jens loses his runner, and I'm like, so this whole debate who's partnering Carter Vickers, and it's like, well, you could make a case for dropping either of them on that evidence.
No comment. One's injured. And with the other games that happened over the weekend and then this morning, well, yeah, it's one of those ones for me where Carter Vickers is the first name on the team sheet. But I actually thought it was good to see Jens and Starfelt playing together.
Yeah, well, however briefly, yeah.
Yeah, well, we hadn't seen that. So every other combination we'd had, so it was always, who's going to partner Carter Vickers? Is it going to be Starfelt? Is it going to be Jens? Is it going to be Welsh? Well, we'd seen Welsh and Carter Vickers. We'd seen Welsh and Starfelt. We'd seen, Starfelt, Carter Vickers, obviously. The only combo we hadn't really seen, we'd seen Jens and Welsh together. The only one we hadn't seen was Starfelt and Welsh together. So it was actually good to see that combination, even for a little while. And I actually thought Jens playing left centre back, Starfelt right centre back. I think he actually looked a little more composed on the ball. Not a lot more composed, but a little bit more composed.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I'll get into with the Ross County game quickly because no one really wants to talk about a week-old game now. But the thing I loved about it was we were talking on the pod last week, how many changes do you think Ange is going to make? And we're all like 2 or 3 or maximum of 4. Pretty much wholesale changes.
Ah, yeah.
We had
We were well wrong.
I thought Ange could do it, but I actually didn't think he would. And I was chatting to Shane, who's been on the pod before and everything, and he said the exact same thing. Like, who would have thought that Ange actually would do that? Because he doesn't do that even over here for Australia. The works hasn't been known to do that. So Seagrett's got his debut. Bernabé not a debut, but first start for the club. Welsh and Jens were together. Ralston got a start. Moyes started, Turnbull and McGregor. I think the only ones who weren't dropped from the game the week before was what Maeda and McGregor. That was pretty much it, wasn't it? Everyone.
Abada had played, but he'd only just came into the team.
So you had Starfelt, Kyogo, Haksabanovic, McCarthy, Jota, Bain, Hatate, Forrest, Juranovic on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And then, lazy 4-1 win, 4 different goal scorers yet again. Love it. Forrest on the score sheet, meaning that's 14 straight seasons he's scored for the club.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's... Yeah, it just doesn't happen, really.
I don't think we'll see much of him this season, but he's good to have around the locker room as a veteran who can come in and do the job when and where, and it's good for our club culture. So it's good to see him do that and keep that history up. And, off we go.
Yep.
So we'll get into the main event of the evening, the one everyone wants to talk about. Celtic 4. Now, how would I describe them? Would I describe them as zombies, as Sevco, as Rangers, as the Glasgow Rangers? The mob from Govan. Yep, that mob.
I think you can say Sevco works for me.
I've got plenty of other ones, but they hear it, they'll report the channel. See you later. So we'll leave it as is. But going into the game, I was quietly confident. Pretty much everyone was confident. Quietly, considering I said it was going to be 6-0 win.
Mm-hmm.
Last week's pod. We're
halfway there. I thought you were getting it. Yeah, half time I thought you were getting it.
I thought it was on. And then I was like, oh, you guys are wasteful. What the hell? So missed a few chances. But yeah, it was it's good to see Abada. I think going into the game, realistically, it was who's going to start at centre back alongside Carter Vickers and who was going to start up front. Was it going to be Abada or was it going to be Maeda? They were the two questions.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ange got it spot on, to be honest with you. The Carter Vickers Starfelt centre back pairing looked really composed with the intensity of what was going on in that game. Juranovic and Taylor did their job really well that they've been doing all season out wide. The midfield trio of McGregor, Hatate, and O'Reilly, they're getting better every game they play together. And then up front, you had the speed out wide of Abada. You got Kyogo in the middle, for 3 minutes, and Jota on the left, going at Tavernier all game. I think he's still got Tab in his pocket. But, what was your overall take on the game, Sean?
I'd say it was, as much as you're giving Kyogo the credit of 3 minutes, I wouldn't even say it was that. He never even got inside the Sevco penalty box. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was 20 seconds in and he gets his shoulder dislocated and spends 2 minutes getting treatment and then tries to run it off and can't.
Sean, I actually looked at it again today. I went on and rewatched just to get that quote right. He was sucked off. When the board went up, it was 3 minutes and 13 seconds.
Oh, I just meant in terms of being on the pitch and being involved.
On the pitch, it was I just thought I'd use that to be funny, but it wasn't even.
It looked totally innocuous as well, like the tackle. It didn't. I think it was just one of those ones. You know, I don't know if you remember one like 20 years back where Chris Burke, playing for Rangers as it was back then, he went down as like doing the old platoon thing, and like there was almost no contact, but it seemed like his shoulder just fallen off. And it kind of looked like that with Sevco, like so little contact, but just shoulders just gone. It's one of these ones you just don't know what causes it sometimes,
People are going off online about, that's Lundstrom being a grub, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he's grubby. He had plenty of things in that game that could have got him a red card or a second yellow, or he didn't even get a yellow. But for me, that one there was just a collision. Kyogo had his arm up. He didn't have much way to protect himself. The contact came in underneath it. It's one where you cop the hit just in this section here, jolts your arm up, and it jars your AC joint. Done that before myself. Not pleasant. Hurts like buggery. You get a bit of a stinger down your arm. And in that situation, if he's struggling to get along with it, move his arm and all that sort of stuff, and the speed he runs, he needs his arms for balance. Yeah, you better off to sub him off. We've got Maeda who can come on as a striker if need be. We've got Jack and Marcus who can do the job. You got 5 subs. Why not?
It's a concern after what happened to him last year, though, as well. If you remember, he tried to play through his hamstring injury, and he did, and scored 2 goals in the cup final. But then he does it the next game, 20 minutes in, and he's out for 4 or 5 months. So, and look, and especially with that shoulder injury, Greg Taylor had the same thing where, again, he did it, tried to come back, re-injured it, and had to go for surgery. So I'm suspicious.
There's another person as well. Kieran Tierney went to Arsenal, the same deal.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm not actually optimistic about his involvement in the next few months, to be totally honest with you. Yeah, it's a disappointment. But yeah, to get back to the game rather than forecasting Kyogo's injury future, it was about it's a continuing curiosity how John Lundstrom is so uncardable. I don't understand it at all. Like, he's committed so many fouls. And we said last week, I'm pretty sure it was on the podcast, that we were going to have to be good enough to beat 12 men. And as it happens, we were good enough to beat 12 men because we were absolutely up against 12 men. We should have had a Stonewall penalty. I think it was it 1-0 or 0-0 at the time? When Abada gets taken out from behind by Ryan Kent. That is an absolute Stonewall penalty every day of the week. I don't know how he's not given it. There was a couple of challenges that, again, Lundstrom pulls a guy back. The only reason he doesn't get booked is because he's just booked someone else for doing the same thing. Absolute crap bag decision from the referee. Yeah, like, I think the ref was giving them a lot of leniency. And
you
on
left
another
one out, Sean. You left one out.
Tillman did the same.
Goldson's elbow starts into the back of Maeda's knee.
See, I'm actually going to, yeah, I think the still picture actually makes that look worse than it is. I actually think that was a yellow card. Not because, like, I'd like it to be a red card, but I think if you're going by the laws of the game, I actually think it was a yellow card. Because he's in, I know it's a deliberate foul, but he's also in control, and it's not particularly dangerous or reckless, despite the frustration, how deliberate it really is. I think that there's that one still picture that makes it look like it's a stud in the leg, but really he's just kind of coming across the back. And if you watch it actually playing in motion, it's not actually happening like that.
Well, 2 things on that, Sean. One, yeah, I agree with you in terms of playing in. If we go back 5 years before VAR came in, that would have been, yep, yellow, fair enough, off you go. But because you've got VAR and we see that over here, EPL, pretty much everywhere else, if that went to a VAR and they got that one still shot where they had that extended leg, studs up, pushing on the back of his leg, it would have been a red card from a VAR situation. That's why I'm bringing it up. I'm not saying that I think it should be a red card. As you're saying, I kind of agree with it. The ref dealt with it. It looked a lot worse than it actually was when you look at that picture. But as Strangelove the Doctor's saying in the comments, no intention to even play the ball. Letter of the law, it's a red. He was making a professional foul. The studs were up. If that was a VAR, would have been a red card.
Well, intentional foul's not a red on its own. It has to be dangerous and reckless as well. Because, like, for example, like pulling a player back is no intention to play the ball, but it's not red. So basically, by the letter of the law, that Goldson tackle was equivalent to someone pulling a player back when they're about to break. Even though it is way more dangerous, but the letter of the, do you know what I mean? Like, the letter of the law, it's wild how those two things are absolutely equivalent on paper, but like they're so different in actual during a game.
Yep. Yeah. Well, there's a couple of other things I wanted to touch on, but
there was a couple of elbows, wasn't there?
And a flying hand right into the middle of the face. Yeah, the thing for me is I wanted to. You go into the game and you're hearing all these things about Tillman and Kolak and how well those guys are doing. And I think Kolak looked threatening, but he had no service for them. Tillman, I don't see it from what we're hearing. But at the same time, the one I wanted to single out for them was Kent. We used to complain about our wingers not being able to put a good cross in. Can you imagine being a Rangers fan and your frustration with that on the weekend?
Yeah, I offensive thing they had of note was a couple of crosses from Barisic that Kolak got in the end of and should have done better with. But Kent was an absolute man down for them. Tillman was almost a man down as well. They were really, if you're putting on your Rangers eyes, your Sevco eyes for a minute, once you've stopped eyeing up your sister, you're going to be very frustrated with what you were seeing from the players on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? Like, they were just not at it, to be totally honest. And the whole thing about Gio, we say it all the time, Jared, right? When we're talking about every time we're coming up to play them, it's the fullbacks, right? And all the memes are doing the rounds of Jota turning into Venier inside out. But 2 of those goals are directly Barisic's fault defensively. If you actually go back and watch the third goal again, you literally, I've watched it 20 times and I cannot figure out where Barisic is. Like, Abada's our right winger. He's scoring in the position where the Sevco left back should be. And I'll keep watching this replay and I literally don't know where he is. I don't know where in the pitch he is. The nearest player to Abada is Sands. I cannot find Barisic.
I know. I can tell you where he is. He's still in Abada's back pocket after last year in the derby where, you know, Abada was ghosting in and he's just on his hands and knees grabbing his head.
Yeah, oh man. Still one of my favourite moments. Yeah.
That's got to be part of why Ange, you know, went with Abada. So you know, okay, it's going to be Barisic. You go, let's put Abada in. This is going to mess with his head.
Yeah, well, maybe, yeah, that could be that's a good point, actually. And it worked, you know, 2 goals in the first half hour or whatever it was, or 40 minutes from Abada. And another one that was close. But yeah, the 2 fullbacks are there to get got at, and we seem to be getting good at doing that now. 3 assists for Matt O'Reilly as well.
So something that jumped off the page at me, or off the screen basically, when I was looking at the team list pre-game, you compare us first derby game where we played them last year with Edouard up front, Kyogo playing on the left, how weak that squad was, to you look at our team. So we all know what the starting lineup is. You then go and look at the bench. Jens, Giakoumakis, Haksabanovic, Moy, Turnbull, Siegrist, Maeda, Forrest, Ralston. Of those players, Ralston, Forrest, Turnbull would have been starters last season when we were playing Rangers in the first game, Sevco. So you look at the strength. Then you look at the subs that we made. So we got Jens has come in, Giakoumakis has come in, Moy, Turnbull, Maeda. Those are the guys we brought on. Crazy depth. You look at them. They brought on Jack, Morelos, Wright, Sakala, Arfield. Not the same level. And that's not with my green tinted specs on or anything like that. That's just what they've got. Where it gets interesting is when you look at the players on the bench who didn't take the pitch, right? So they had McGregor, Yilmaz, King, Devine. That's their bench. Who are King? Who are Devine? McGregor's old. And Yilmaz is a new signing, right? And then you look at our guys who didn't come on. Haksabanovic, Siegrist, Forrest, Ralston. 2 Scottish internationals. What is he? Montenegrin or whatever it is, international. And what's Siegrist? He's
Swiss.
And he's been around the Swiss squad for a while too. International players not coming on for us. And you look at their bench. And then on top of that, who didn't even make the match day squad? No Bernabé, no McCarthy, and there was one other that I can't remember off the top of my head now as well.
Gucci is injured, but still.
Yeah, Gucci, and there was still one more. So, yeah, it's just insane the amount of depth we've got there, plus the new guy we've signed, Abildgaard, who would more than likely be competing with Moy for that first midfield sub off the bench in the centre of the park.
And he's also an international player.
Exactly. So you look at the difference there and you go, compare it this time last year to now. Oh, geez. Ange, mate, unbelievable. Great job.
There was a rumour as well that we didn't even spend all of our transfer budget and that it's available for us in January if we need it. That's the rumour.
Yeah, well, I'll get to that later on if you want, but yeah, it's I'll bring up a couple of comments though. So on the derby, Stranger the Doctor, I think it was a masterclass. We gave them the ball and smashed them in transitions. Correct. I thought it was a good dress rehearsal for what we were trying to do against Real Madrid this morning as well. I keep
Mhm.
saying this morning to everyone over in Europe because it was morning. I've
Yeah.
been up since 4:30 this morning. If I sound delusional, that's why. But yeah, it's I think it was a good setup for that. And then Dermot Celtic Rabideau has gone, Rangers were never really in it. We played them off the park and don't give a stuff about them, their failings. Beat them well and lots of good performances by us to talk about. Exactly. I agree with you. It's all about us. However, the reason we're bringing this up is because I just want to do the comparisons. All the talk you see on social media, all the talk in the media, all the, 2 seasons ago, how bad we were and the situation we were in when Ange came into the club, and that they're all up and about because, they've just won a title. And now you do the comparison 12 months down the track after the first derby. You've got to do that comparison. That's the reason for that. But yeah, it's unbelievable. Just the growth in the squad, and this morning's game proved it even better.
Yeah, just absolutely on all the things you're saying there, Jared. And I was trying to get the audio clip, but technical issues. The Matt O'Reilly post match on Celtic TV from the derby was. I'll just read it because I couldn't get the. So he says, "Our football. It was our football. The way we want to play. It was the patterns of play that we've worked on all the time. The first one, for example, was a half space run and a cutback. We do that a lot in training. Jota's was a third man run as well, which we work on quite a lot. So they're like, it's not, they're being totally dispassionate about it and just going, yep, this is what we do. This is our football. We're playing it the way. Do you know what I mean? It's not even like, oh yeah, we just ran over them. Nothing like that. It's like, well, we worked on this at training and here's it paying off. Do you know what I mean? It's total, and they're describing it as our brand of football. So everyone's very clear about what they're doing. It's not just luck. It's not just get it into the final third and be creative, you know?
It's not the old Lenny style, switch the wingers, get it into the mixer. It's none of that anymore.
Yeah.
It's just, it's an actual way we go about things,
Mm-hmm.
and the way we're doing it and the buy-in from all the players and how well they're developing. Not only is it going to help us now in the league, it's going to help us in Europe, as we've seen. It's also going to help us in the future because players are going to see that and be like, if they were 50-50 on wanting to come to Celtic, now they're going to be like, oh, okay, I could fit into that system.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know what the hell a half space run and a cutback is, but Matt O'Reilly and Callum McGregor and Jota and Abada, they all know. Third man run, I don't know. I mean, if you're looking at it, there's three men across the front, and it's the third one, the furthest away one, that's making the run. So I don't know, like I don't know. They know, they know what they're doing.
They're speaking Spanish, and we're all here to just join the party. It's brilliant.
Yeah. That was impressive. I was really impressed with the interview and the way he was saying that. I was like, wow.
Great to see we're all on the same page. We know what the plan is, and off we go. And what we're doing at Lennoxtown during the week, practicing, is being put into place and coming off under pressure at the big and high stakes games. It's great to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Shows that we actually are well coached. Oh, here we go. Andrew Reed's got a comment. Best comment during the game was the wife on Tillman. Has that boy played football before?
There was one. What was the one about Morelos? It was one of the. It was an English radio pundit. Did you see it? Oh, I can't remember the guy's name, but he said, "Who's that bloke with the frosted tips that's came on for the last 20 minutes? It looks like someone's dad that's came on to make up numbers at a game of fives."
Yeah, I've got it here. So Andy Bush has gone. Don't have BT Sports. I ended up watching the OF derby. That's all I'm going to say. Who was the fat bloke Rangers brought on up front for the last 20? Looked like a competition winner with frosted tipped hair.
That's the one.
And someone replied, ha ha ha, that's their £30 million striker. And he's like, I've never seen anything like it, mate. Looked like a dad making up the numbers at a birthday party, six-a-side.
He did as well. Like he did nothing other than just throw an elbow in someone's face. He's like, man.
The funny thing on that, Sean, is on Sunday, Father's Day, saw my dad. My brother was there, and he's just like, oh, so we're celebrating the 4-0 last night, blah, blah. And he doesn't really talk much Celtic with me, but he was like, how good was it? And then I read him that tweet, and he's just like, yeah, I was wondering who that guy is. He makes me look skinny. And my older brother is similar sort of build to me. He's like tall, got a bit of extra weight on him, whatever. But he goes, he makes me look skinny. And I'm like, if that's a professional athlete, geez, come on now.
Do you know who's probably raging? Lee Griffiths. He was never as big as that. Do you know what I mean? Like, Lee Griffiths is getting called fat, and he was not as big as that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I used to joke when people call Griff fat. I'd be like, I wish I was that fat.
yeah, exactly. But honestly, Morelos actually has got a bit more heft than me, and I don't think I'm particularly skinny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll leave the body shaming before the woke mobs try and cancel
Sure,
us.
that's
And
fair.
we'll,
Just
we'll
like
crack on.
we're commenting on his professionalism, not on his body choices.
Yep. So, any other players you want to, or any other things from the derby you want to call out? Because I've got two things I want to mention.
The one thing, and I didn't put a timestamp on this note, so I'm gonna kind of struggling to remember exactly when it happened. But there was one set piece where Daisen Maeda was marking Connor Goldson, and it made me start to think about the comments on signing Abildgaard from Postecoglou, where he said most of our players wouldn't go on a ride at Disneyland, and I'm like, well, I wonder if that's by design. Or if it's just somebody's lost their man. But Maeda was marking Goldson, and I was quite worried about that.
Yeah, it's yeah. I didn't have any more to add to that, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I was
and
trying to come up with something witty, and I'm just like, nah.
yeah, the Starfelt header as well was shocking. He almost cost us a goal. But apart from that, I thought he had a good game. The one where he puts it on a plate for Kolak instead of letting it run to Joe Hart. But yeah, I mean, apart from that, was my only two kind of notes that I took that were a concern on the Celtic side of things. I thought they were brilliant. I mean, I didn't get to see the whole game live because my brother was getting married, but I did get to see it all after.
Yeah, for me, the two things I wanted to bring up was one, the Tifo pregame looked awesome. Two, the carry on to Jota's goal celebration, head down, arm up. People saying, oh, it's all IRA inspired and all this sort of shit. I'm like, get over it.
No, it's a Jinky. It's the Jimmy Johnson thing.
Exactly.
I don't know why everyone's jumping on this. Maybe Jimmy Johnson got it from Republican things. I don't know, but it was very much clearly a Jimmy Johnson thing.
Exactly, and like that's the thing. Like you look at on Twitter, all the Celtic fans saying it's all jinky, sort of thing, and then you got their guys trying to say, no, it's this person, this 13-year-old, or was it the Tifo, and then there's this based on some IRA person. I'm just like, come on, mate. Do you really think a footballer from Portugal is going to go and learn his history on the IRA and then do that pose in the derby?
Exactly.
Right in front of the corner where the away fans are sitting. I think it was.
Do you know what's just clicked to me now is, remember Kyogo did the Larson celebration against Dundee United?
Yeah.
And now Jota's doing the Jinky. I reckon these guys are checking up in the history.
That's good. If you know your history, happy days.
I reckon that's what's going on here.
Yeah. So we've got some news. Martin K in the comments, not Celtic related at all. Chelsea boss sacked. Thomas Tuchel apparently has been sacked. Well, RB Leipzig have sacked their manager. That's what I was just looking up when you're talking before as well.
After they got pants last night, didn't they, by Shakhtar? Or this morning, I should say.
So, yeah, he's been given the flick. And that means former Hoops defender Andreas Hinkel has also lost the Leipzig his job there, because he was an assistant.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's good or bad. It usually works against you, and like you'd rather play them when they're in shambles. Like it's worked for Shakhtar last night.
You get the old new manager bounce sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Players trying harder, that sort of thing. Yeah, so that's kind of bad news for us then, I guess. I don't like that comment, Dermot. No, come on.
Dermot, no, I'm going to bring up something. So talking about knowing your history at the club, like I just said, talking about Rangers, they don't have a history.
Yeah, that's not the comment we're talking about, but yeah.
The next comment, Chelsea after Ange. I don't think Ange will be that stupid because, he knows that how quickly they fire everyone. So,
I was talking to my dad after the 9-0 game, and I was saying, like, how long have we got him for? Do you know, at that point, like, and yeah, as I said, if we do well in Champions League, he's not going to be here next year, right?
For me, yeah, I always said that, it's year 2, and with Ange at Clubland, it's always tends to be a three-year sort of ride for him, or 4 years max. Like, at South Melbourne, he was there 4 years. At, Brisbane, he was there, I think it was three full seasons, and rebuilt it, and then won 2 and then left. Melbourne Victory's there for a year, but then left because he went to the Australian national team, and he was there for the full 4-year cycle. But, and then you get him at, over in Japan. He was there for just I think it was 3.5 seasons. And now he's with us. He's going into year 2. I don't want to start that rumor that you're saying they're Dermot for the nervous ones. That's the sort of thing you'll get on another podcast that is named after a bus, where they're already talking him up for the Man United job. So we'll leave that for that podcast, and we'll stick to Andrew's here as long as he wants.
And I'm totally on board with that. I think anyone that gets offered £15 million a year or whatever is going to go. Because I'm sure, what would we be paying him? What, 3, 4 if you're lucky?
Yeah, about that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even 2. Let's be honest.
I was going to say, like, Rodgers was what, 4 or 5. So do you know what I mean? And he came from Liverpool, not to, not from Japan.
Yep, exactly. So you'd think we would have got Ange pretty cheap because he just wanted a club in Europe to give him a chance. So yeah. Anyway, let's lock him down on a long-term 5-year deal then, so we can, cash bank on him if he does eventually leave, instead of having him on the 1-year rolling contract. Sounds good. Get it done, Celtic.
Let's do it.
All right. Next game. Celtic 0, Real Madrid 3. Discuss, Sean. Your thoughts?
I was in a bit of a haze of jet lag at the time, but from what I've seen, I thought we were brilliant. And then I totally agreed with what Postecoglou said in the aftermatch, was that we need to be more what's the word? Sorry, it's totally got it in my head now. More clinical in Europe, and he's not wrong, because for everything that Abada was against Sevco, he was not against Real Madrid. He was getting he's one thing that Abada's never had a problem with is making good runs and getting into good positions, but what he did have a problem with this morning was composure and decision making, and he did the opposite of that against Sevco. He did the opposite of that against Dundee United. So it has to be, you could really, I believe, chalk it up to inexperience and just lack of composure, maybe due to age, being awestruck on the occasion. And there was, yeah.
Can I quickly jump in on that there, Sean?
Yeah.
Just before I forget what I'm thinking, but the way Tillman wilted on the weekend with our 60,000 on top of him, I think last night, first Champions League game against the defending European champions, Real Madrid, a club he's probably grown up watching his whole life, being, oh, wow, that's Real Madrid. And, under the lights of Celtic Park, it's a whole different beast. First time in a Champions League. I think maybe he wilted a little bit on that. He was still making some good runs, but he was just wasteful with his finishing. But I want to go on record and say those people who were blowing wind up his ass on Saturday saying, oh, Abada's the best player, how well he's going. I've seen a few of those people saying he's shit, he should never be in the first team again. Haksabanovic should have his spot, or Maeda should have his spot every time going forward now. You can't flip-flop like that. Come on, back you guys. He's only a 20-year-old kid. Yeah, first time in the Champions League. Give him a chance.
Is he not even 21 yet? I can't remember.
He just turned 20 just in the preseason.
Look, you get inconsistency from any winger. It's just an inconsistent position on the field. Like, it's hard to be consistent from out there. And when you're 20 as well, as long as,
same age as Owen Moffat. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely not. Yeah.
Take that on the same age as Karamoko and Owen Moffat. There you go. So Would you have rather have either of those two in that situation last night? I wouldn't have. So for me, it's a barter all day.
Hmm. Yeah, and you just need to look at the chances that. So Real Madrid had like one real chance at 0-0 before they scored, the one where Hart saves. But other than that, like their next real chance is the one where the same guy just slots away. I was a bit disappointed that Juranovic, don't I kill him, but if he'd just slide tackled to try and block it, the guy can't score that goal. And Tony Ralston would have absolutely done that. That's one thing I will say is Ralston would have defended that better.
First
We
one.
we know, yeah, the first one, yeah.
Because the thing with the first one as well is as the ball's gone down the wing before it's come in, do you see how clever they were where they ran in front of our guy to make Jens have to go around?
I didn't pick up on that now.
Yeah, I noticed it. So as soon as he's played the pass, he's kept running and he's bumped Jens. So Jens is basically on the sideline
Okay.
and then put him out of position, which dragged Carter Vickers across, which dragged the other guy across. And then it was one pass, finish. And you're just like, what can you do? It's just a class thing. Let's be honest here. If you saw that in Scotland, you'd get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, until that first goal, we had them absolutely rattled. But it kind of reminded me a wee bit of or not reminded me of, sorry, but made me think what it would be like to be, I guess, like a Ross County supporter, really, like, or someone like when they're playing against Celtic. Like you can have great tactics, you can play a great game, you can have absolute maximum intensity, but then in some 9 times out of 10, the difference in quality will just tell at key moments in the game, and that's kind of what happened for Real Madrid against us.
100%. And for me going in, I'm like, you can talk all we want, like, oh, we're playing well, Andrew's doing well, that sort of stuff. But we've got to be realistic. Like, Bodo Glimt put us out of the Conference League last year, and they've been playing at their level for how long? As a squad for 3-4 years. This is year 2. We've got a young team, which I'll get to in the next topic. When I say a young team, you'll all understand that soon enough. But talking about us and its development and it's a growth phase for the club, you can't be mad at that. Like, I honestly didn't expect to beat them. I was hoping we'd pick up a point. And as we said last week, talking about the groups, or the week before, it's a matter of, if turning it into a 3-team group. If Real Madrid will go out there and they'll do the business on every team in the group. They'll beat Shakhtar, they'll beat Leipzig, they've beaten us. So if we could pick up a point against them in home or away, that could be the difference in the swinging to get second and stay in the Champions League post-Christmas or post-World Cup. So that's what it's about. Strangely, the doctor's got a comment here which ties in perfect. It's like chess. You only improve playing against better players. Last night was an education.
Yep.
Spot on. I've got a couple other comments to bring up here. So Dermot has said, I think it's a great showing last night. Looked like we were a chance for 55 minutes. At least 3 good chances that we could have put away another time. Still think we can make it out of the group. On that one, after 20 minutes, we could have scored 4 goals. I'm not lying here. We had 2 close ones, a ball width hitting the side netting. We had one hit the post. We had a couple of decent ones where we made Qatar make a good save. So we could have been 3 or 4 up after 20 minutes. At half time, we could have scored probably 5 goals. They could have scored probably 3. I'm not mucking around. But yeah, to be like going at the defending European champions for 55 minutes and doing what we did, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. We'd obviously be happier with a win. And looking, if we had that goal, it would have, at some point in the first hour, then it would have really been a very different game. And yeah.
Michael Owen said at half time, if McGregor's strike went in, the one that hit the post, that would have been a completely different game. He goes, can you imagine that crowd with how it was already? And then you get that goal against the defending European champs, and it's your first time back in the Champions League in how long? the crowd, how that would have exploded, the energy that would have given to our players when they were already too quick for Real Madrid the majority of the time.
Hmm.
What would have been the flow-on effect after that? It
Yeah.
would have been insane.
Yeah, it's really sad that we are having this what could have been conversation, but you're right. There was a lot of hope, considering we were playing the best team in Europe. There was a lot of hope came out of it. We
Yeah.
really should have got something.
Strangelove, the doctor, how far we have come that I'm disappointed not to get a result against Real Madrid.
Totally agree. Yeah, that's what it is. That's the feeling, isn't it? Like, because we've absolutely convincingly scubbed everyone we've played so far in Scotland, and we're putting out reserve teams in the League Cup for away games at Dingwall. I'd say reserve teams full of internationals, but you know what I mean. Like our backup or bench players out on the starting lineup, and it's crazy times. Like if we can actually turn this into European results, then it could be one of the best seasons ever. If we can, like this, it's there. The signs are there. We just, Andrew's right though. We do need to have that bit more composure and clinical nature about us when we are in Europe.
Speaking on that, Dermot's also commented, it was a great intense game, next level, can't afford to miss opportunities. The boys were great and will get better. So as you're saying, don't miss your opportunities, be more clinical. There it is right there. There's another agreement, another one agreeing. Strange Love, another comment. I know the lads will have been kicking themselves last night. They know they can do better now. 100%. Learning experience for them. And then Vanessa has commented, why does Maeda scuff the ball so regularly? I'll let you give a serious answer, Sean, but for me, I think it's because he's moving too quick for his legs half the time. And
well, he wasn't moving last night when
no.
the ball came to him. That was one that just, yeah, he's not the kind of player that tends to score volleys. He's not that Kyogo type player. He's the kind of one that gets the ball in front of him, and when you can see it, he can do what he wants with it. But I have actually noticed that before. To kind of give Vanessa a little bit of support here, is in that he does his first touch isn't always that close to him. He doesn't have necessarily. He's slightly more towards athlete than he is towards technical footballer. But yeah, I think maybe a sense of occasion as well for that chance that she's talking about.
Yep. So we've got some comments on that topic as well. So Strangelove's response is Maeda will come good with his finishing. He did the same in Japan. Dermot was he looked wrong-footed. Andrew was the ball was traveling and slightly behind him. That's what I was actually about to say.
Right. Okay.
Like I was making a joke, like, he's too quick for his legs, but I actually think sometimes the ball tends to be past that half a ball width behind where he wants to receive it because of the speed he's moving at.
Mm-hmm.
And I also agree with you, Andrew. The next game is key. We've got to beat Livingston on the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think it might have been talking about Shakhtar, but
that's what my response was.
Yeah. Well, look, and Ange will say that to him. He'll be saying one game at a time. He'll have them focused on Livingston. But yeah, from a fan perspective, we obviously do have that European thing on the next level of our sights.
So we're off to Warsaw next week for that game, and let's hope Marian Shved doesn't come back to haunt us. Like he played really well last night against Leipzig, had 2 goals or something like that.
Was it? Oh, jeez, I don't know. That totally passed me by.
4-1, Shved had 2 of them.
Ah, man, that's quite foreboding for us, isn't it?
We've got 1,000 wingers. Brendan Rodgers.
Ex-players always score against us, with the exception of Mo Bangura.
What was that bloke at what's he called? Up at, was it Mulder or something like that? That we had the guy who got done for racial vilifying Shay Logan. And then the next year he come back and he smacked a couple passes.
Tonev, did he?
Yeah, I think that might be him. Yeah, I think I remember that.
No, it wasn't him. It was Joe Ingeberge that scored the 2 against us.
Okay, yeah. Hey, all I've got to say is they all blend into one. Players who we signed on loan and did nothing at the club and then left. Yeah,
and then come back and haunt us. Harold Bratback.
So Andrew's comment is squad rotation for this weekend.
I think so. Is it home or
Hacks,
away?
yeah, good question. I'll look that one up. But Hacksaw to start. There you go. Livingston, it's like coming home after backing across Europe and then getting the Manly ferry. If you're from Sydney, you'll understand. At least you're getting the ferry, mate, and not getting stuck on the Spit Bridge. You won't
Jeez,
understand that, Sean.
I wouldn't. No.
There's this old joke in Sydney that the people from the northern beaches don't travel into actual Sydney to watch their sporting teams. And the bridge you got to go across is called the Spit. So it's like, the Spit Bridge is just a nightmare to get across. Some days you can sit around it like for half hour either side of it. So that's what that comment was about.
Okay. Yeah. West Coast. No.
Yeah, that's Salty Park.
Yeah. The game's it's Saturday for me. I think you've written Sunday in the wrong run sheet, but it's Saturday night for me.
That's because it's Sunday for me. There you go.
Yeah, it's going to be midnight. Oh yeah, no, midnight for you, right? Oh, so it's just
Sunday
tips
midnight.
over.
There you go. So it's
For
at
me,
3 p.m. 3 p.m.
yeah,
Saturday.
I'll have the Dockers game will be on at 5:25, and then I'll get to
Do the double, Sean.
exactly. It'll be a nice long night of sports.
Happy days. So we'll quickly talk about the game then that we're talking about here, the Livingston game, and then we'll crack onto a transfer roundup, or should we just leave that for next week when there's only one game to discuss because the next Champions League game's after? We'll do the transfer window roundup next week.
I think so, yeah.
That way John can get involved because he had a few things he wanted to discuss as well.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking for Livingston? Should we be doing what Andrew said here, which was squad rotation, and how would you rotate the squad?
I think we do the same as we did for Dingwall. Pretty much everyone out, next man up. What I'm most keen to see, if it's possible, I don't know what his fitness is really like, but is Haksabanovic starting would be great. Unless Ange has him in mind for the Shakhtar game, in which case maybe not. But can you imagine Haksabanovic getting unleashed on Livingston? That could be quite a sight. And it could be, and again, even with all the subs happening, it could be an absolute killing a home game against Livingston. Then again, maybe not. They drew out. Martindale's got a good record against us, a couple of 0-0s at Celtic Park. He's quite good at setting up that low block, but I'd just like to think we've got enough quality now.
So for me, I'm looking at it going, we've got a few injuries. Like we've got an injury at the back with Starfelt being out. So for me, I think this morning's game, Juranovic was probably, I think we had 3 players who looked world-class this morning. Playing against Real Madrid, they looked at that level. So Juranovic, O'Reilly, and Hatate, those 3 to me looked unbelievable. So those guys, they've played heavy minutes today. I'd be giving them the game off. So I'd be giving Ralston a game. I'd be bringing I'd be bringing Moy in. And then you look at it and go, how do you want to tackle that number 10 role? Do you want to push Kalmack forward? Do you want to put Turnbull in? We'll probably start Turnbull. That's what I reckon we'll do because he can unlock a defense and, they look to sit deep. So that could work well. But then you look at the rest of the squad and you go, do you give Taylor a breather? Yeah, you might give Bernabeu a go there. But the centre-back pairing, I don't really want to mess with too much because we've had injuries. We've got to build that partnership. Up front, you got, as you said earlier, you don't really think that Kyogo is going to be much for us with his injury for the time being. He'll probably be the bench player. So do you start Maeda up front as a striker, and then do you give Jota a breather and put Haksabanovic in? There you go. It's probably 4 or 5 changes there.
Only 4 or 5? Jeez.
I'm going 4 or 5.
I reckon it's more. I reckon you're saying 7 or 8. But yeah, the question I guess is, who do you start up front? Because with Kyogo, Dicey, and Giakoumakis, we don't want to burn out. That is definitely a question.
The other thing, though, is we know they like to set a low block, Livy. So how do we beat that? Do we put a speed merchant in there like Maeda as a striker and try and beat them down the pitch?
Well, it's not.
Or do we need
that? Is it?
Or do we need our battering ram because they're going to be in a low block? There's going to be that many people in it. Do we need to put Giakoumakis in there?
Yeah. The other thing, the other thing I'll say on the opposite side of that is we did say those similar sort of things against the likes of Kilmarnock, and then and Kyogo scores the opening goal with a ball in the channel. So
Yeah, I know.
I think at the end of the day, we just have to kind of say, we trust Ange and we trust these players and all that sort of stuff.
At the end of the day, yeah, you're right there, Sean. I don't really care who we put out there. We're going to get the job done. Andrew Galea with the comedy. Ralston at number 9. Monda Bricky. Get it done.
Let's do it. Let's see it. Let's make it happen. He can play anywhere. He's that good.
Put him in goals. Give Joe Hart a game off.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I think it could be. Yeah, I think this is the game where when the lineup comes out, and this is a tactic I've used before and won quite a lot of money. Whenever the lineup comes out, you see who's the striker, and you go and stick $10 on a hat trick for whoever the striker is that game.
Fair enough. So for me, I'm looking at it going. Yeah, I'm thinking we'll play a 5. I said 4 or 5. You're talking me into it, Sean. It's going to be 6 changes. There we go. You've got me to extend myself one more. There'll be a few changes, but I want to keep the centre back pairing together.
Here's one. What about Forrest up front?
We could do that, or we could put Abada as a striker, put Haksabanovic on the wing anyway, and then we could have Abada score 5, and then turn around and just give the double birds to all those people typing shit on the keyboards. Goal celebration like he's typing. That would be hilarious. I'd understand it.
Yeah, look, our goal difference is our points difference is comfortable, but our goal difference is so comfortable that any kind of win is going to be sufficient, right? Yeah. What are we on now? 38 games, is that right? 38?
Yeah, 38.
And then there's 32 left this season.
We're already 5 clear.
Yeah, oh man.
Points clear. Insane.
It's an unbelievable run. It's and domestically. Yeah, man. It's crazy times. Like if you think back to what is it? It's just over a year now since we last lost a game to Livingston. And if you go back and listen to the podcast from them, we're just talking like damage limitation. It's a successful season if we're within touch of them, and then we've just rhymed off 38 games unbeaten since then.
And then Liam says, but if we're within 6 points at the break, we'll win the league.
He was the only one saying that.
He was the only one who said that. Let's be honest. From early days, that was his preseason prediction. So you got to give credit where it's due.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I didn't even think it was possible until I think it was the game we beat Aberdeen away. That was the first time I thought it was possible. And then I didn't think it was actually going to happen until we beat them 3-0 at Celtic Park.
It's funny though, if you're at a CSC having these convos, people will be like, oh yeah, sure you said that, like about Liam, but the proof's on the channel.
Yeah, because none of us said it. It was just Liam.
Yeah, no, I think it's hilarious. But yeah, well, getting back to the Livy game, I'm thinking it's about getting the 3 points at the end of the day. That's it. Who have that Mankey mob got on the weekend? I'm going to quickly check that.
They'll be away from home. Who are they playing? I don't actually know.
Just checking it now. They got Aberdeen at Pittodrie.
Oh, that's right. I did hear about that Pittodrie away. That's right. And they're in Amsterdam tonight, aren't they?
Yeah. So they're playing in Amsterdam. I think it is. No, it's in. Well, they're playing tonight. Doesn't matter where it is.
It's in Amsterdam.
And then they play the early game on Saturday away.
Saturday, is it?
Yeah, they're Saturday.
Could be some day for football on Saturday.
Oh yeah, so games in Amsterdam, and then they're Saturday 9 p.m. our time. So that's midday kickoff on Saturday.
See, they were complaining again recently about the SPFL not postponing fixtures for them around Europe. Absolutely,
they do it for us. Get over yourselves.
Sing a different tune, man. Like, geez, I don't know why they're still complaining about it every time. Like,
yeah. The definition of insanity, saying the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result, otherwise known as being a zombie fan.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's a good spot to leave it. Score prediction for our game?
For Livingston? Every do you know what? Like every time, whenever I say it's going to be tight, we end up spanking a team.
Just go all out, Sean. Balls to the wall. Just throw some stupid number out there like I did last week.
Oh man, 5-0. Let's go for it. 5-0. It's not stupid, but I think
A barter with all 5. There you go.
I think Haksabanovic hat trick. Let's see it. 5-0. Haksabanovic hat trick.
Yep. For me, I'll go 4-0. 3-0 or 4-0. It'll be one of them. And actually, if it's 4, it'll be 4-1 with 3-goal margin. And who can score? Who do I just joke is getting the hat trick this week? Because that's the ongoing thing I'm going to say every game now. It's going to be score prediction and this person for a hat trick. Cameron Carter Vickers hat trick. There it is. That's my stupid comment. Let's see how it goes.
Stick it on. If you say it and you don't stick it on, you're going to regret it. What do you get for Alec? 40-1? No, sorry. 40-1 is like first goal scorer odds. It'd be 500-1 for a hat trick. Something like that.
Cashing up, pay for my Sydney trip. Sounds good.
Yeah.
$1 will pay for my Sydney trip for my hotel. Happy days. Getting it done, Carter Vickers.
Yeah, Sydney's coming up soon.
Yep. All right, Sean. So, is there anything else you want to add about the games? We'll do the transfer window recap next week, but other than that, then we'll get. If you've got anything else you want to add, over to you. Otherwise, final thought.
Final thought. Don't take a 22-hour flight with a 3-year-old.
Noted. I'll take that on board.
Send them in the post or something, or just don't do the journey.
Just put them in a container. Off you go. You'll be here in 6 weeks. Here's some water. You're good.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, for me, final thought is, as the subject, the name of the pod is, we run this town. Glasgow's green and white. Get around the boys. Don't need the negativity. Let's just focus on first time in Champions League in years. Let's just support this team and watch them grow. Because the support that we gave last night at the game, the atmosphere was electric. Same on the weekend. More of the same this weekend. Let's just never stop, as Ange says. Let's just keep going as a fan base as well. Keep supporting the team and let's us as a supporter base improve as much as the players and the club is. We all need to grow together to get back to our rightful place as European elite.
And from what I've seen, the fans did a really good job last night of doing that, even after the game. Unbelievable
from what I saw. So yeah, well done, everyone. Those who hung around after the game and everything as well, legends. Yep. All right, everyone. Before we get going, just if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the Select Down Under podcast via your podcast app. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel on there, on our YouTube channel. We've got Twitter and Instagram at Celtic Down. And on Facebook, we've got a page and a group on there. So if you could give them a like and join, really appreciate it. Other than that, everyone, hope you enjoyed the show. Chat with you next week. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail. Job it.